Question number 6, the Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Speaker, my question is to the Minister responsible for the Earthquake Commission and asks... You OK? You all right?
Order. He sounds in some distress. Order. The member, please, to start his question again without responding to interjection or interjecting himself. Honourable Clayton.
My question is to the Minister responsible for the Earthquake Commission and asks, does he still believe that New Zealanders can have confidence in EQC?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, yes. 18,315 claims have been made to EQC from throughout New Zealand in 2013. So far, over $7 million has been paid in settling those claims.
Supplementary question, Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
How can New Zealanders have confidence in EQC when the Auditor-General has confirmed EQC's inability to communicate with its claimants, stating, quote, homeowners have experienced inconsistency in information, long periods without specific information, and, quote, a lack of certainty while waiting for repairs?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, the Auditor-General has been engaged in the EQC process from the outset, largely at my request, so that we did get good information, acceptable assessment of how that performance was going. Now, EQC have in fact improved that performance quite considerably. They have repaired over 46,000 damaged homes in Christchurch and paid out in excess of $6.3 billion to Cantabrians to date. Further, the latest survey from EQC has got an 86% satisfaction rate on those repairs.
Order. Point of order. The Honourable.
Oh no, I'll better answer it. It'll be easier if I.
Supplementary question.
Okay.
Honourable.
To the Minister, does he believe that EQC, to quote him in this morning's press, is doing pretty well, given that the Auditor-General notes that 3 years on, EQC was not completing repairs to properties with vulnerable occupants any faster than the repairs to other properties, and that the reason for this provided by EQC was that 3 years on, the, quote, process for prioritising the most vulnerable has yet to bed in, unquote?
3 years. Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Well, Mr Speaker, the member can sit over there and say that we are 3 years on. The reality is that well, that's right. The Auditor-General is closeted here in Wellington, doing a distant observation. The reality, sir, is that the decay curve on the seismic activity in Canterbury has only shown a settled pattern for a bit over 12 months. So, sir, yes, there has been a fair bit of time elapsed, but don't forget that EQC were directly responsible for fixing up over 170,000 houses, Mr Speaker. So I think that my comment that they've done pretty well is a reasonable one. The other thing, of course, is that I well remember the member asking the question, predicting that we were going to see real estate values drop through the floor in Canterbury. Mr Speaker, that hasn't happened, largely because of the efforts of EQC.
Supplementary question, Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Does he believe that EQC, to quote him, is, quote, doing pretty well, given the Auditor-General notes that 3 years on, and she is capable of counting 3 years, quote, some contractors were accredited and inducted before criminal, credit and conflict of interest checks became a routine part of the accreditation process, that, quote, the issuing of performance improvement notices to contractors has not been centrally recorded for most of the program, and that, quote, the controls for ensuring compliance with the building code are not consistently followed, and that the reason given for this by EQC 3 years on was that these checks had only recently been implemented.
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, the member is quoting selectively from the Auditor-General's report, and it is available for anybody to read it and put it into the right context. In the early days, there may well have been contractors accredited who did not meet some of the strict criteria that are there now and have been there for the vast majority of the last 3 years. There are 1,287 accredited contractors employing thousands of people, and, Mr Speaker, to characterise them in the way that Mr Cosgrove has is completely inappropriate.
Point of order, Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr Speaker, given that my word's been questioned, I seek leave, and it is a recent document, I accept it, but given your recent rulings, I seek leave to table page 33 of the Auditor General's point,
I don't need to hear any more. That document's very available if members wish to further inform themselves. Supplementary question, Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
To the Minister, will he now acknowledge, 3 years on, the genuine ongoing difficulties and struggles that the people of Canterbury are having with EQC, given that he has in the past brushed these issues aside and questioned their validity, in light of the Auditor General publishing a 100-page report detailing evidence and facts independently illustrating EQC's ineptitude?
Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
It doesn't matter how many flowery words a member might throw into their question to try and make it seem a little more reasonable and direct. The fact is that EQC is dealing with a very big problem in Canterbury, 170,000 houses that need to be dealt with, Mr Speaker. They are getting on with that task extremely well. In addition to that, they've done a land assessment on over 180,000 individual properties and, Mr Speaker, settled literally thousands and thousands and thousands of contents claims as well. The Auditor General has noted a condition that existed in EQC at a point in time. EQC are committed to improving their performance, and frankly, sir, every statistic that can be amassed around EQC does indicate a reasonable performance. Mr Speaker, I think it's worth noting that the DBH, the old DBH, Department of Building and Housing, did a survey on building work that was done while that member was the minister, and found that 69% of people had a satisfactory rate with their outcome with their contractors. Mr Speaker, EQC has consistently been at the 80% mark and is as high as 91 and is currently at 86%. A very good performance.
Question number 7, Mark Mitchell.